As the language on the Lord of Satire can be a bit raunchy at times, this show is meant for a mature audience. Therefore, listener discretion is advised. And please don't try to commit acts of satire at home. I'm a professional. As part of our ongoing commitment to provide an alternative point of view whenever possible, we're now happy to present this guest editorial. Our guest speaker today is, Lester Smelgerson of the Howard County, Maryland Tea Party splinter group that broke away from the actual Tea Party when they realized it was nothing more than a liberal tool designed to make conservatives look stupid. Mr. Smelgerson.
My name is Lester Smelgerson, and I am the public relations spokesman for the Howard County, Maryland Tea Party splinter group that broke away from the actual Tea Party when we realized it was nothing more than a liberal tool designed to make conservatives look stupid. And I'm here today to agree with Washington Times columnist Jeffrey Scott Shapiro, who writes pretty good for a Jew, who declared today that the victims of the Sandy Hook massacre do not deserve a vote in Congress. There's only one way to get a vote in Congress, and that is to be a congressman. Now, if you want to let your congressman know how you feel about something, you can send him an email, you can write him a letter, or you can become a lobbyist and put a suitcase full of $100 bills on the congressman's desk. That's the way to get your voice heard in the House of Representatives. Now, I know that this bill that got blocked by a GOP-led filibuster would not have banned any guns. It would have just expanded background checks for gun purchases. But that is a slippery slope that we cannot stand on. We cannot allow our president, Barack Hussein Obama, to continue to exploit the Sandy Hook tragedy by riling up the emotions of already distressed parents and families, giving them false hope while engaging in an abuse of power. People, Barack Obama, you might think he's God, but he can't raise your babies up from the dead. They had too many holes blowed in them by that crazy critter that got his hands on his mama's AR-15. There's nothing Obama can do about that. And even though Obama did not ask Congress to ban guns, it would be just as unconstitutional to ask Congress to ban free speech, establish a national religion, or reinstitute segregation than it would be for him to do anything that affects the Second Amendment. Obama needs to stop saying that if we could save one child's life, we should do everything we can in our power. What if that one child grows up to be the Antichrist? What if that one child grows up to be a monster? What if that one child turns out to be that little snot-nosed brat who lives in the house behind me, who always cuts through my yard on his way to school every morning? Abuse of power is a dangerous thing in a constitutional republic. So despite the, what some would call tragic circumstances of what happened at Sandy Hook, sadness and desperation are never a reason to jeopardize freedom and liberty. The families of Sandy Hook do not deserve any more attention than my grandpa got when my grandmother got ate by a bear back when I was a little boy. You didn't see us going to the government and saying, we feel real sad that our grandma got ate by a bear, so you should do something about all the bears. Did they do anything about it? Hell no. And government should not be involved in this. It's the Constitution not compassion, that remains the currency of our country's lawmaking process. And I don't care how many bears eat how many grandmothers, I am going to feel that way until the day I die. I'm Lester Smelgerson of the Howard County, Maryland Tea Party splinter group that broke away from the actual Tea Party when we realized it was nothing more than a liberal tool designed to make conservatives look stupid. And that's how I see it.
If you have an opposing point of view on any other editorial stance we've taken, leave us alone.
Here comes the Fat Man.
There he goes. He's stepping on the scale. Weight, 237 pounds.
I wish.
Fortune, danger. Who is it?
The Fat Man.
Oh, yeah, sure. I'm fat. If you ate as much ice cream as I do and got as little exercise as I get, you'd be fat too. Probably even fatter. But what I lack in slim, I make up for in wise guy. For I, Bill Schmalfeld, am also known among the criminal underworld as the Lord of Satire. The Lord of Satire, starring Bill Schmalfeld, hobbled by 13 years with Parkinson's disease, unable to do anything productive with himself. The Lord of Satire sits at his microphone and mocks those who deserve mocking. He sneers at those who are in need of a good sneering. He pokes fun at those who are in want of a good poking. And he does it for fun. This thrilling episode of The Lord of Satire is brought to you by Papa Luigi's Republican Italian Restaurant. It's the same vile, tasteless swill you turned your nose up at last time, but he's made a lot more of it, so please come back and try it again. Now, here he is, the Lord of Satire.
The Lord needs a nap. Didn't sleep so well last night. No idea why. Just kind of laid there. Things running through my head. But I'm here. Good day. It's Friday. I'm Bill Schmalfeld, the Lord of Satire. And I got up this morning, and as my habit, I turned on the computer. I read about the shootout that took the life of one of the two suspects in the Boston Marathon bombings. An MIT police officer was killed, a car was hijacked, but for some reason the killers let that guy go. There was a chase. The two suspects, brothers from Chechnya, who have lived in the U.S. for, something like a decade? They shot at the police and threw explosive devices from their car, and then there was a shootout at which time one of the suspects, the older brother, was killed. In his rush to escape, the younger brother drove right over his older brother's body. Now, as we meet, he's still on the loose. That could change at any time. It sounds like, from what I'm hearing on TV, that they know where he is and they've got him cornered, and now it's just the effort of talking him out without blowing anything up. The entire city of Boston has been ordered into a state of lockdown. Shelter in place. Do not open your door unless it's a uniformed police officer. No one can remember a time in history when an entire city the size of Boston has ever been completely locked down. And topping my concerns at this hour, who are we supposed to hate? The suspects are from the Russian district of Chechnya. That's in the northern Caucasus Mountains, meaning that these people are literally Caucasian. However, Chechnya has been involved in a violent separatist movement. They wish to exist as a separate republic from Russia, something the Russian government has been fighting for years to keep from happening. However, despite being white and Caucasian, Chechnya is predominantly Muslim. Most of the Chechens belong to the Shafi'i school of thought in Sunni Islam, while a minority belong to the Hanafi. So at any rate, Boston is on lockdown. We know it was a terror attack, but were they connected to Al-Qaeda? Well, one could argue the logic of that. I mean, Al-Qaeda tends to fund its organizations a little better, and these two laddies had to steal from a 7-Eleven and carjack a guy to get his debit card. But there's also the fact that Al-Qaeda has been remarkably silent on the matter, and they love taking credit for things that they didn't even do. So, who are we supposed to hate? Muslims? White people? Russians? Chechens? All foreigners? No doubt the right-wing pundits will parade a list of new and usual suspects for you to be afraid of, because that's what they do. That's what they need to exist. The right wing of this nation requires your fear. They need you to be afraid. Never mind the nuts who can get guns without a background check. Be afraid of Muslims. Never mind the fact that Hispanics have to wait for 10 years for permanent resident status, and these guys apparently got theirs almost immediately. Be afraid of the Chechens. Never mind the fact that your own Senate and House of Representatives cares more about NRA money than they do about your safety. Be afraid of foreigners. Be very, very afraid. Well, one thing that we as Americans must be grateful for in the aftermath of the Boston bombings and the identification of the suspects, one of whom, as I said, was killed in a shootout last night, if we ever decide we really want to do so, it'll be easier to round up and institutionalize all of the racist idiots in America. Because as soon as the word hit the street that these guys were Chechens and therefore likely Muslims, the racist came a-running. It's like somebody clanged the dinner bell. The racists put on their bibs and ran for the dinner table. They're all over Twitter this morning. This one named Sean Taylor, who tweets @StayForMusic, says the terrorist went to the same training camp as Matt Damon and other Hollywood lefties. Oh, I'm sorry, I meant school. Grant Lewis, who tweets under that name, Grant Lewis, seems to be a decent sort. He wrote, wingers, in response to a tweet by somebody named Conlee, Conlee. Isn't it time to ban Muslim immigrants? So many deaths over the centuries by these ideological tools of death. Dr. Melinda Thomas, who has a little heart, She has a tiny little heart right there at the front of her name because, she's just all about the love. Dr. Melinda Thomas. She tweets under the name Dr. Melinda Faith. Dr. Melinda Faith. She says, has the news mentioned that the bombers are Islamic extremists? The facts are still being put together, dear Melinda. Randy Sheets, who tweets under the name Viet Randy, says Obama and DHS put Christians as top threat to national security, not Muslims, because it would offend them. The president is a dyed-in-the-wool Muslim. Randy Sheets is a dyed-in-the-wool moron. Fitzy, who tweets under the title FitzFam2000, modified a tweet by CPS3Indy. The terrorists, more foreign nationals under guise of elitist academia, we must close the student visa loophole now. And then there's someone calling himself Squeaky Wheel. Has a picture of the Israeli flag in his avatar. Goes by the name @GetsGreased. I'll bet he does. Someone is very wrong today as MSM, that's the mainstream media, works to push narrative that bombers acted alone with no word of radical Islamic ties. That's because there is no word of Islamic radical ties. You want the media to make it up? You want the media to create Islamic ties if none exist? Pardon me there for a moment. This delightful darling, Susan, who tweets under the name NYGRLAHRT, that's, I guess, New York girl at heart, says, gee, another terrorist being allowed into our country and educated in our country only to commit atrocities against us. Shocking. What's shocking, Susan, is your lack of knowledge of the material facts in this case. These youngsters came to America. One of them, I think, was 6. The other was 13. They did not come to America to do this. They were in America. Lodi Silverado, who has a avatar of a cowboy on his Twitter tweet, says, Muslims, again. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Ohio Patriot, who goes by the name @James and Jeanette, said, if you're disarmed in Boston with a mad bomber on the loose, thank a progressive. Oh, yes, the Twittosphere was just crowded today with Twitter tough guys who were boasting about what they would do to the surviving terrorist if he should knock on their door, because they're tough guys. Old Ogre, who tweets under the name Old Ogre 2, I guess Old Ogre 1 was busy. He writes, so, am I still just an angry old white man for telling everyone it's a mistake to allow all these Muslims in? Yes, you're an angry old white man and a racist and an Islamophobe. Anything else I can help you with? Cadence Day, who writes under the name at Day Cadence, with cadence spelled with a K, writes, impeach this Muslim, I'm sorry, let me start that again. Impeach this America hater now. Obama allows 80,000 Muslim immigrants, foreign nationals, into the United States. And then posts as a link a story on Examiner.com, which is rife with idiocy and racists. Teresa McAvoy. She tweets under the title, at ABBA's Girl 68. I guess she must be a dancing queen. Islamic jihadi mindset is a threat to our republic. Enough world terror 'cause of Islam. Yes, mindsets are a danger to our republic. Let's call the thought police and start enforcing the right way of thinking. Finally, Rooster Pisces says, the only cluckers, see, he's a rooster, so he modifies his words. The only cluckers surprised by another Muslim terrorist are ones living in an unrealistic PC, that would be politically correct, not personal computer, living in an unrealistic PC utopia. Cluck happens, deal with it. So, as I say, if there ever comes a time when we seriously consider rounding up and exporting all the meatheads, all the hate merchants, all the people who hate for no other reason than Sean Hannity and Rush Limbaugh and people like Erik Rush tell them to, all we got to do is search the Twitter logs. Now, speaking of Erik Rush, he's the individual who, as of Monday, I had no idea was even alive. While watching the coverage of the bombing unfold on TV, I had my iPad on my lap, and I was scrolling through Twitter as I was watching the coverage, and I stumbled on this tweet from Erik Rush in which he said something about Obama allowing Saudi students, etc., to come in without screening, and that we should grab our ankles because there'll be more of it. And I wrote back saying, sweet God, you're already blaming Muslims? I mean, the event was not even a couple hours old yet at that point, and here's this idiot already blaming Muslims. And he wrote back almost immediately and said, yes, they are evil, kill them all. Well, the geniuses, and I mean that literally, at rightwingwatch.org, I get a lot of my material from them. I love them dearly. rightwingwatch.org saw that tweet, posted it, it went viral, it was seen by hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people around the world, and all of a sudden, Erik Rush deletes the tweet and says he was just being sarcastic. Well, I invited, God, it has to be at least a dozen times now, that I have personally invited via Twitter, via email, via response on his column, I have invited Erik Rush to be interviewed on this program. I have invited him to do a pre-recorded interview in which, for the first time possibly in his life, he would be confronted by a non-compliant questioner who asked other than softball questions. Mr. Rush has not even favored me or shown me the respect of a response. So I did the only thing I could do. I held the interview without him. Mr. Rush, I'd like to thank you for taking some time from your busy schedule to agree to this interview with me today. Well, it was very generous of you, considering that it was my response to your tweet about letting more Saudis in without screening them that caused you to express what some would say was a Twitter Freudian slip. Mr. Rush, your response to my tweet where I asked you, "Sweet God, are you already blaming Muslims?" was, "Yes, they're evil. Let's kill them all." You realize how hollow that sounds, right? I mean, when you delete the tweet, that indicates you regret having sent it. And then to call it sarcasm? That sounds a little bit like when a kid says, "I didn't mean to," when one of his parents catches him standing near a broken cookie jar. You do know how to indicate sarcasm in a tweet, right? You put a slash and the word sarcasm at the end of the thing you are claiming to be sarcasm so the reader can tell it's sarcasm. It's really that easy, but you didn't do that. And that's why your claim now about it being sarcasm just is not particularly believable. Well, let me share what you wrote on your weekly World Net Daily column about that. In the hours after the bombing, an irate tweet, on Twitter obviously, complaining of my, quote, already blaming Muslims resulted in a sarcastic response on my part that we should kill all Muslims because that's typically their favored disposition toward Americans. Well, the Demi world went wild on Twitter, let me tell you. For the uninitiated, Demi is an Arabic term that refers to a non-Islamic population that lives within lands conquered by Islam. Hours after some of the foulest and most threatening tweets ensued, attempts to compromise my Twitter account and hack my website were made. Right Wing Watch and the Huffington Post and other left-wing outfits carried the story of my online utterance, most leaving out the fact that it was sarcasm. This led to even more outbursts of unbridled liberal dimitude, as well as attacks from people identifying themselves as Muslims. Sir, are you seriously saying America has been conquered by Islam? Do you realize how insane that sounds? But you do say that we are at war with Islam and that people are killed in wars. So it sounds from that statement that you really meant what you said and that it was not sarcasm at all. Is that fair? Well, there's no need to take that tone. My parents were too married. Well, if that's the indication of the civility I can expect in this conversation, let's just end it here. We've been speaking with Erik Rush, frequent correspondent on Fox News and rabidly Islamophobic writer for Weekly World Net Daily, who called for the killing of all Muslims in the wake of the Boston Marathon bombing. I hope he gets some help and realizes the toxic nature of the hatred he is spreading before any real harm comes of it. We have this latest news from one of our reporters on the scene where they believe they may have the surviving suspect in the Boston Marathon bombings cornered. She reports, "We see a dog. It is barking. It could be a canine unit. We don't know. It is a dog. More information as we receive it."
He's not done mocking you just yet. Stay tuned for more of The Lord of Satire.
What happens when the head of a hillbilly family murders his fat little daughter and then hides her body in a storage bin?
I swear to God, we could hear her in there laughing at us as we looked through the junk.
These storage warriors are getting more than they bargained for.
I got home that night and all I wanted to do was drink Red Bull and Mountain Dew. And I hate Red Bull and Mountain Dew.
There's nothing but crap in here, and it smells horrible.
Do you hear that?
Oh my God!
Storage War Ghost Finders. Tonight at 10, 9 Central on the Learning Channel. I mean, it's not like I got anything against them on an individual basis, understand that. But there's just something, I don't know, creepy about them. You ever notice that? Bright spots have got no reason. Bright spots have got no reason. Bright spots have got no reason to live. They got muddy hands, beady eyes. They walk around telling great big lies. They got pointed noses and rotten little teeth. They wear wingtip shoes on the nasty little feet. Well, I don't want no bright spots around. Don't want no bright spots around. Don't want no bright spots around here. Bright spots are not the same as you and I. A man such as I, all men are brothers until the day they die. It's a liberal world. Bright spots have got nobody. Bright spots have got nobody. Bright spots have got nobody to love. They got little shriveled balls, the women too. You got to scrape them off of your shoe. You got the tiny minds, they stay asleep. They got screechy voices like asthmatic sheep. They got boogers on the fingers and ugly little minds. They'll just lie to you every time. Well, I don't want no bright spots around. Don't want no bright spots around. Don't want no bright spots around here. I mean, it's not a thing about class or anything like that. I'm not saying that, you know, they belong to a different class of people or a different species or anything like that. They're just not very smart. I mean, name one thing a bright spot has contributed to society other than hate, prejudice. I hear Stranahan's a good cook, but man.
And in other news, now that the Zarnev brothers have been identified as the Boston Marathon bombers, and they are Islamic immigrants from Chechnya, which is on the northern edge of the Caucasus Mountains, making these brothers pure-blooded Caucasians. Racists from around America are holding conference calls at this hour to decide just who should be the target of hatred and fear as a result of these developments. Grab your ankles and prepare for a mocking that you will not soon forget. The Lord of Satire has returned.
Barely seems like I was away, doesn't it? Earlier I was talking about my friends at Right Wing Watch, and I get a lot of material from them. I was looking at this story from Thursday. The headline is, La Barbera finds it reassuring when gays are affected by STIs, that's sexually transmitted illnesses, and violence. Written by Brian Tashman. He writes, Peter LaBarbera of Americans for Truth About Homosexuality. Can you believe there's actually an organization by that name? Americans for Truth About Homosexuality. Spoke to Coach Dave Daubermeyer last week, telling Daubermeyer that he finds it reassuring that the gay community is impacted by STIs and violence, as it confirms to him that God believes homosexuality is an abomination. Coach Daubermeyer was a very successful, as a matter of fact, high school football coach at some place called the Fairfield Christian Academy. And he lost his job for reasons that nobody will ever, at least I haven't been able to find the reason. He says he was fired for being too decisive, whatever that means. But I think you got to be pretty nuts before you're let go by a Christian academy. You got to be pretty far gone in the nutsoid scale. So it's a good thing that the gays get sexually transmitted diseases and are subject to violence, I guess.
And to me, it's always reassuring, because if God believes this is an abomination, Coach, detestable, then, it turns out that, the real world is backing up what the Bible says about homosexuality. If it really is a detestable behavior, as God says, you would expect it to be linked disproportionately to disease. We see lots of gay-on-gay violence, domestic violence.
I never cover up my penis. I take my chance with HIV. I party with the cleanest people, the kind you see on MTV. I bounce around with bears and bikers. I'm barebacking every time. Come on, come on, come on. Let's go barebacking. Come on, come on, come on. Barebacking. Remember when you took my hot shot? And Jimmy Dobson cried for more. He couldn't focus on the family, too busy working as my whore. There's no violence in our man that chooses. We're barebacking every day. Come on, come on, come on. Let's go barebacking. Come on, come on. Come on, barebacking. We got some more Pete LaBarbera. A great up Coach Daubermeyer. Yeah. Those freaks said love it when we do our thing.
Coach Daubermeyer got fired from Fairfield.
The reason why they never say. He acts like he's so disgusted. He's barebacking every day. Come on! Come on! Come on! Let's go barebacking! Come on! Come on! Come on! Barebacking!
We see, Coach, I was in San Francisco, and they're selling, all the stores that were selling videos were selling these, can I say it? Sure. They're called barebacking videos. They're glamorizing sodomy without a condom, which I thought that the condom was supposed to be the answer to HIV. And here in San Francisco, of all places, they're selling these videos, which are porn videos glamorizing sex between men without a condom. And so there's no logic to the liberal left. They're all about doing whatever whatever the homosexual movement wants. And you're right, it is like spoiled children, but nobody wants to say no to them.
Spanky Daddy, spank me harder.
Sure, there called barebacking videos. Can I say it? Sure, there called barebacking videos. Called barebacking videos. Called barebacking videos. Called barebacking videos. Called barebacking videos.
Would you care for a towel?
It has been said that those who do not learn the lessons of history are doomed to live them again. If you go back in history to the French Revolution, you find there was a thrust.
When you're young and so in love, they say, complicated by the fact you're gay. How can two men fall in love without blessings from above? What a town full of bigots can do. If we stop to gaze upon a star, people talk about how queer we are. Ours is not an easy life. I'm his husband, he's my wife. What a town full of bigots can do. We all have problems, many problems. We need an understanding heart. Why do they hate us? Please don't hate us before your hate makes this country fall apart. Seems like attitudes are changing fast. I believe this stupid hate won't last. We can keep our love alive. We can prosper, we can thrive, while their little minds tear right in two. Like a town full of bigots can do.
Well, we have here a debate over same-sex marriage, but is it really just about marriage? Or does it go far beyond that, to destroying the traditional family and building a country without God?
We can keep our love alive. We can prosper, we can thrive, when their little minds tear right in two. Like a town full of bigots can do. Yes, it's really kind of shitty what a town full of bigots can do.
And in other news, at Thursday's interfaith service in the city of Boston to memorialize the victims of the Boston Marathon bombing, President Barack Obama said it should be pretty clear by now they picked the wrong city to do it. Not here in Boston. Not here in Boston. An unnamed source from the White House, speaking on a condition of anonymity, said Bill Schmalfeld's hometown of Clinton, Iowa, would have been a far more suitable choice.
It's time to pay some bills because you're not contributing anything, deadbeat. The Lord of Satire will return.
Greetings. My name is R. Casey McStain, managing editor of Viral Screed and my own blog, The Other McStain. I realize for many of you, this is the first time you are hearing my voice, and for that I apologize. I lost my voice box due to years of excessive smoking and drinking cheap alcohol. If you purchase any of the items for sale at Team Kimberlin's store on cafepress.com, you are contributing to the downfall of Western civilization. Team Kimberlin's stands against everything we hold dear, educating young people about the importance of voting. Who thinks that's a good idea? A bunch of pot-smoking, red-eyed slackers going to the polls and voting for Democrats. And the National Parkinson Foundation. Really? God wanted these shaky, wobbly old bastards to have Parkinson's, or he would not have blessed them with the disease. If you go interfering with God's law, well, you're in a heap of trouble. So do not go to www.cafepress.com/Team Kimberlin and purchase any of their wide assortment of t-shirts, hats, hoodies, sweats, cups, keychains, mouse pads, or cute little doggy jackets. You're just going to wind up making things worse for the 1%, and we cannot let that happen. Now, where's that bottle of Mad Dog 2020 I was promised for cutting this spot?
Never mind the bollocks. Here's Team Kimberlin with all that nice stuff that's going to make you look cool and help fight for social justice at the same time. 50% of the proceeds from the sale of each item goes to the Justice Through Music Project, an organization that uses famous musicians and bands to organize and educate and activate young people about the importance of civil rights, human rights, and voting. The other 50% goes to the National Parkinson Foundation, which works with Parkinson's patients and their caregivers to help them endure the daily challenges of this disease that affects some 1.5 million Americans, with 50,000 new diagnoses each year. So visit www.cafepress.com/Team Kimberlin today and shop until it feels good. Remember, as R. Casey McStain says,
where's my damn bottle of wine?
Hi there, friends and neighbors. Lee Strangamahan here again, inviting you to get your sick and perverted asses down here to Lee Strangamahan's Purloin Pussy Palace and meet our new dancing girl. She's a hoochie coochie that'll make you go smoochy. I know that didn't make no sense, but it was the best I could do on the spur of the moment.
Hi, boys. I'm Candy Mandy, the Liberty Chunk.
That's right, boys and girls, and she dances real purty, too. Now, they won't let her get all the way down naked, because that's a law here in Texas. Girls can't get naked.
Yes, they can.
No, honey, I think they made this law just for you.
Oh.
Yeah, the legislature hurried back down to Austin and passed that bill in record time once they heard you was coming to work here. But she wiggles and she jiggles like a bowl full of jelly. Hell, we pass out sticks for people to touch her with, just so you can see her jiggle. It's a thing to behold.
Hey, tickle something fierce.
Now settle down there, honey. You're making little Hoggy all nauseous and nervous and everything. And speaking of something fierce, we got us truckloads and truckloads of purloin pussy. Pussy for every taste. Now you keep your pants on there, Liberty Chunk. Remember, you're not... No. There's a law against that sort of thing, as far as you're concerned there, sweetheart. Anyway, bring it on down to Lee Strangamahan's Purloin Pussy Palace, the place for the pussy. You'll find us wherever the hell we are. Just follow the stench till you get to Lee Strangamahan's Purloin Pussy Palace.
And in other news, Ted Nugent claims that President Obama has no interest in pursuing the perpetrators behind the Boston Marathon bombing, and that liberals are partly to blame for the tragedy because they champion keeping nuts out of the nut house. He added that if the marathon bomber is found to be from a Middle East country, The U.S. should deport all people from the Middle East and put a boot in their ass. When a reporter asked if Nugent's presence at the podium was proof that nuts are not being put in the nut house, Nugent responded with a crossbow and an arrow right through the reporter's. Sit tight. The mockery has scarcely begun. The Lord of Satire has returned. Assume the position.
Gun nuts. There's no need to feel blue. I said gun nuts. We take good care of you. I said gun nuts. There are senators who will make sure you stay well armed. Gun nuts. They are watching your back. I said gun nuts. For when Muslims attack, I said gun nuts. Take your government back. You will need to be well stockpiled. Ow, 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 ow. 'Cause all the senators love NRA. That's 'cause they're paid good by the NRA. They make sure that you don't have to report on your past when you feel that it's time to blast. Republicans vote for the NRA. And so do Democrats vote NRA. Now the gun bill is dead, like a shot in the head. We don't care what the Gabby said. Gun nuts. Are you listening to me? I say gun nuts. Do you want to stay free? I say gun nuts. You can take it from me that the Congress will do nothing. Gun nuts. The majority wants to have gun laws, but the NRA flaunts all that money. So just join NRA. I'm sure they can help you today. Ow, 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 ow. That's why Republicans vote NRA. And so do Democrats vote NRA. Now the gun bill is dead, like a shot in the head. We don't care what the Gifford says. 'Cause all the senators love NRA. That's 'cause they're paid good by the NRA. They made sure that you don't have to report your past when you feel that it's time to blast. Gun nuts. Although 90% of the people say it's just common sense to check backgrounds when you're buying a gun, that just makes you wait to have fun. Congress, they know better than you. I said Congress. They will watch out for you. That's 'cause they're owned by the great NRA, and they know how to vote for pay. Ow, 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 ow. So all Republicans vote NRA, and so do Democrats vote NRA. Now the gun bill is dead, like a shot in the head. We don't care what that blonde chick says. The senators, they love the NRA. That's 'cause they're paid real good by the NRA. They made sure that you don't have to report on your past when you feel that it's time to blast. Republicans all vote for NRA, and so do Democrats vote NRA. They made sure that you don't have to report on your past when you feel that it's time to blast. The senators all vote for NRA. That's 'cause they're paid real good by the NRA. Now the gun bill is dead, like a shot in the head. We don't care what that blonde chick said. Yay, NRA!
Hello, I'm Tea Party favorite Texas Congressman Louis Gohmert. And I just want to take a minute of your time here today to tell you that I take issue with what my good friend, Fox News commentator and writer for WorldNet Daily, Erik Rush, said the other day when he said we should kill all the Muslims. Not only was it a wrong-headed thing to say, it was insufficient to what needs to be done. If we do what Erik Rush says, we're only solving half the problem. For instance, did you know, and this is true, that Al-Qaeda has camps on the Mexican border? I'm not kidding about that. You know it's true. Matter of fact, our government knows it's true because President Obama goes down there every Friday for Friday prayers with his Al-Qaeda friends. Takes his own little prayer rug down there with him, puts on his little Muslim hat and unrolls his prayer mat, and somebody shows him which way he points to Mecca, and they kneel down and they pray together. And then the Air Force One brings him back to Washington and nobody even notices. So if we are serious about handling this Islamic problem, we can't stop with just killing the Muslims. We're going to have to handle all the Hispanics as well. Because as it turns out, Hispanics, have you noticed? Hispanics look a lot like Muslims. If you lined up about 10 Hispanics and 10 Arabs against the wall and made them all wear just regular T-shirts and underwear and that sort of thing, I'd give you $5 if you could pick out an Arab from a Mexican. You can't do it. They look almost exactly the same. And Al-Qaeda is teaching these terrorists how to act Hispanic. I mean, it sounds like I'm kidding, but I'm not. They are training their operatives how to act like Mexicans. So when they sneak across the border, they can say all the proper things like no habla English and give me welfare and things like that. And next thing you know, you hire yourself one of these Al-Qaeda people to pick your tomatoes, and then they're blowing up a building somewhere like they did up in Boston until I'm proved incorrect, which I don't think I will be. You have to understand, we want immigrants in this country. We want people who want America to be a haven for people who want to live free. But when you've got the greatest liberties, you just know you're going to draw the people that want to destroy you because they hate our liberty. I don't see why this is so hard to understand. So, the first thing we need to do is get that Islamic so-and-so Obama out of the White House. Do whatever you gotta do. And then we need to follow through on my friend Erik Rush's idea, but not stop with half measures. We need to take it all the way. We got to stop being squeamish about things like this and realize we are at war and there will be casualties in a war. Now, right now, I can hear somebody saying, well, what about the babies? What about the cute little Hispanic babies? Rats have cute little babies, too. And you don't solve a rat problem by letting the babies live. That's all I got to say.
In other news, the Republican Party sued South Carolina congressional candidate and former Governor Mark Sanford for divorce today, saying that he has violated their trust for the last time. After telling reporters that the National Republican Congressional Committee would not donate any money to Sanford's May 7th special election campaign against Elizabeth Colbert Bush, RNC Chair Reince Priebus said the Republican Party can forgive a lot of things: cheating on your wife, being caught wearing diapers with a hooker, playing tappy-toe with strange men in airport bathrooms, and sexting with underage congressional pages. But they had to draw the line at trespassing. that look off of your face. At least our commercials are entertaining. The Lord of Satire will return momentarily.
What happens when a family of midgets lives in a rundown house filled with junk?
We gotta stop living like this.
When the health department came to inspect the house, they couldn't even get the door open.
They had boxes full of rotting pizza stacked up against the door.
Look, I still have old used Pampers from when I was a baby, and I'm 35 years old. This room we're standing in, full of old dirty Pampers. Don't cut yourself on anything, it's a death sentence.
There are little people living in a great big mess.
Even the cats won't come in anymore.
Little people, big hoarders. Tonight at 10, 9 Central, on the Learning Channel. I'm just like everyone else in America. I've been on an antidepressant medication as long as I can remember. And it worked. Every morning I'd get out of bed, take my medication, and look forward to a bright new day full of promise and adventure. Then by the end of the day, the realization that I still had the same dead-end bullshit job, and my wife was still the nagging bitch she always has been, and my kids were still disobedient little brats, I go to bed every night just horribly despondent over the way my life was turning out. That's when I asked my doctor about Acceptitol.
Acceptitol, fluvocertraperoxapam, has been clinically proven to eliminate emotions and expectations in adults.
Now I take an Acceptitol every morning and nothing matters. My boss is a jerk? Meh. My wife cheats on me with the UPS guy? Meh. My kids are sniffing glue? Meh. I just don't care anymore.
Acceptitol has been shown to cause explosive bloody diarrhea, congestive heart failure, dry skin, dry mouth, dry eyes, and bad breath in dogs. Don't take Acceptitol if you are driving, handling heavy machinery, or firearms until you know what effect Acceptitol will have on your inner rage. Acceptitol has also been shown to cause cancer of the liver, cancer of the anus, cancer of the heart, and sudden death from otherwise unexplained reasons. Don't take Acceptitol if you have a reason to wake up in the morning. Acceptitol should not be taken while drinking alcohol, smoking, or breathing. Ask your doctor about studies that show Acceptitol may be responsible for spontaneous combustion in people over 40. Acceptitol should never be taken in combination with any other drug. Your doctor does not have time to explain all the risks, so have someone read the tiny print in the FDA-required warning pamphlet to you.
I used to want to kill myself. Now I just don't care. Thank you, Acceptitol.
If you are just sick of it all but don't have the guts to kill yourself, ask your doctor if Acceptitol will help you. Not to be taken internally, externally, or sublingually, available in 10-pound suppository form only.
Coming soon, that moment you've been waiting for, the end of the show. But first, some more of the Lord of Satire.
Well, not much more. We're just about done. I often wonder why people listen to my show if they don't like it. Who is this little dweeb here? Let's see if we can find out about him. Oh, SKWFM Music. He said, this is where you request it, we play it. Rock and roll. You little twerp. He called me an old man, and he said, you suck, old man. And I said, well, you suck. No, I don't, older man. And he wrote back, I only 12. You stupid. Go tell your mother I said thanks. Anyway, we'll have more about the whole Boston Marathon bombing thing if they catch the remaining perpetrator, or if it turns out that the net gets spread even wider. We'll have that information for you on Monday's gathering. Oh, I'm gay! Now I'm gay and I'm crap. I'm gay crap. the 12-year-old said. Wait a minute. I might have misunderstood that when he said he was 12. Could have been talking about his IQ. I really don't know. Or do I care? See you Monday.
Coming soon, that moment you've been waiting for, the end.
Oh, that's right. I played that already. Let's play this instead.
You have been listening to another exciting episode of The Lord of Satire. Join us weekdays live at 12 noon Eastern Time and on demand 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on Spreaker Web Radio. The Lord of Satire has been brought to you in part by Senator McConnell's Turtle Soup. There's a little bit of Mitch McConnell in every serving.
This is Bill Schmalfelt. Behave yourself. Or on my next show, I may be talking about you.
You can tweet the Lord of Satire at Lord of Satire and visit his website at www.lordofsatire.com. This is your anonymous announcer bidding you good day from the Lord of Satire.